Hi, in this video we will read about normal newborn from Marrow edition 6. Starting with the definitions. A newborn period it's called of the first 4 weeks after the birth. First week is the early newborn. Next 3 weeks are the late newborn period. Okay, so newborn period is what? The first month. That is the first 4 weeks after the birth is the newborn period. Now the second one, average birth weight in India is around 2.9 kgs. If the baby is less than 2.5 kgs, then we call it low birth weight. If the baby is less than 1.5 kg, then it's called as the very low birth weight, and if it is less than 1 kg, then it is called as the extremely low birth weight. Big baby or macrosomia, when the birth weight is more than 4 kgs, then we call it macrosomia. Okay, so we talked about the different birth weight. Low birth weight is less than 2.5, very low birth weight is less than 1.5, and extremely low birth weight is less than 1, and big baby is more than 4 kgs. Okay, birth weight should always be interpreted with the gestational age using the intrauterine growth chart or the percentile charts. Lower reference curve is 10th percentile, and the upper reference curve is 90th percentile. Any value above 90th percentile is large for gestational age. Fine. So how do we call a baby large for gestational age? Based on the percentile value. Above 90th percentile is large for gestational age. Baby weight between 10th percentile and 90th percentile is called as the appropriate for gestational age, and baby weight less than 10th percentile is small for gestational age. Okay, now let's talk about small for gestational age. There are certain types. There is a normal variant and there is an abnormal variant. Normal variant or the constitutional small for gestational age is more common as compared to the abnormal variant, that is intrauterine growth retardation, IUGR, which is always associated with a pathology. Fine. Points to differentiate IUGR from the normal variant small for gestational age. How do we differentiate these two? IUGR, which is the abnormal variant and which is a pathologic variant, from normal variant SGA. So IUGR babies have loose skin folds, at least 3 loose skin folds. Okay, and the placenta or the umbilical cord appears thin. The head circumference is more than the chest circumference. Difference is more than 3 centimeters. Normal difference between the head and the chest circumference is 3 centimeter. Okay. So in normal baby, when we measure the head circumference and the chest circumference, head circumference is more usually, and the difference is more than 3 centimeter. Normal difference is around 3 centimeter. But in IUGR babies, the head circumference will be more than the chest circumference, and the difference will be more than 3 centimeters. Okay, so this is how we differentiate. IUGR babies will have skin folds, placenta and the umbilical cords are thin, and the head circumference is more than 3 centimeter than the chest circumference. Now coming to the types of IUGR. First one due to the maternal cause, second one due to the fetal cause. Let's start with the maternal cause. Disorders of uteroplacental insufficiency like the gestational hypertension can cause this IUGR. Fine. Its onset is late in the second or the third trimester, and it has a effect that it's brain sparing because majority of the blood supply is directed towards the brain. Head size is normal, body is small, called as the asymmetric IUGR, which is seen in this IUGR, which is due to maternal cause, which is more common. So what was happening? There was disorders of uteroplacental insufficiency, that is like the gestational hypertension, and brain sparing effect called brain, because majority of the blood supply is directed towards the brain, and head size is normal and the body is small, called as the asymmetric IUGR. Okay, now coming to the fetal cause. And the fetal cause can be genetic defects or any anomalies, and the onset of the fetal cause is early in the first trimester itself. So there is no brain sparing effect because of the early onset, and every part of the body undergoes growth restriction, that is called as the symmetrical IUGR. So asymmetric IUGR is due to the maternal causes, and symmetrical IUGR is due to the fetal cause. Moving ahead, there is something called as the ponderal index. and its formula is weight in grams upon length in centimeter length. a cube in centimeters into 100. So if the ponderal index is more than 2, then it is a case of symmetric IUGR. Fine. How will we calculate? Weight in grams upon length in centimeters into 100 and centimeter cube. Fine. Now coming to the large for gestational age baby, we already saw, right? Birth weight percentile is more than 90th percentile, and its causes can be: first is the constitutional or the large for gestational age, which is the normal variant. Second, it can be due to infant of a diabetic mother. In gestational diabetes, if the mother has gestational diabetes, then there are high chances that the baby will be large for gestational age. And the third cause can be Sotos syndrome, that is cerebral gigantism. Child has intellectual disability, premature tooth eruption is seen, and there is developmental delay in the Sotos syndrome, which is a cause of large for gestational age baby. Now other causes: Beckwith-Wiedemann syndrome, in which there will be macroglossia, anterior abdominal defects like the omphalocele and the umbilical hernia, hemihypertrophy, and increased risk of the Wilms tumor. Okay. So let's look at this image. In this image, we can see that the child is having macroglossia. That's why the mouth is open. See, and the tongue is coming out. In this image, we can see this abdominal contents, abdominal defects. Fine. And in this, we can see hemihypertrophy. See, this leg is hypertrophy as compared to the other one. And in this Beckwith-Wiedemann syndrome, there is increased risk of Wilms tumor also. Moving ahead, for assessment of maturity. Newborn care are divided into preterm, term and post-term babies according to the gestational age. Gestational age up to 37 weeks, we call it preterm baby. 37 to 42 weeks, this is very confusing, so let's remember it in the better and simple way. 37 to 42 weeks, term baby. Less than 37 weeks, preterm baby, and more than 42 weeks is post-term baby. Fine. So term baby is between 37 to 42 weeks. Less than 37 preterm, more than 42 post-term. Gestational age is calculated from the last menstrual period. Okay. Now, postnatal assessment of the gestational age is done using the expanded new Ballard score. There is a criteria of physical maturity and the neuromuscular maturity. Fine. So it is this Ballard score in this postnatal assessment is for 20 weeks to 44 weeks only, and the score ranges from -10 to +50, and its accuracy is up to ±1 week. Fine. So on the basis of these, how is the posture of the baby, how is the square window of the wrist, we flex the wrist and see how is the square window, right? How is the arm recoil, how is the popliteal angle. Scarf sign, we pull the elbow of the baby to the other side, and if it crosses the midline, it's given the score accordingly. Then there is heel to ear test. This was all for neuromuscular maturity, and on the basis of this, we score the baby, and we calculate the maturity, right? Postnatal assessment. So we calculate the maturity of the gestational age of the baby, and it gives accuracy of around ±1 week. Now for physical maturity, what we do? We check the skin, we check the lanugo hairs, we check the plantar surface, breast, eye and ear, genitals in male, genitals in females. So after all this, a score is calculated, and on the basis of that score, weeks are decided. Like if the score is 30, it's 36 weeks. Okay. And if the score is 40, it's 40 weeks. If the score is 50, it's 44 weeks. On the basis of that. Fine. Moving ahead, differential points based on the appearance. How will we differentiate a preterm and a term? On the basis of the appearance. So, on the basis of posture, in the preterm, the extension, there will be extension, and there will be less tone of the body. But in the term baby, there will be flexion, and there will be good tone, and attitude of universal flexion will be seen. Second one is the scarf sign. Positive and flexed elbow crossed. When we call the scarf sign as positive, if the flexed elbow crosses the midline, and that is there is less tone, so the baby is preterm because there is the tone is less. And if the scarf sign is negative, there is flexed elbow, does not cross the midline, that means the tone is good. Fine. If the breast buds are less than 5 mm, then it's preterm, and if it is more than 5 mm, then it is term. Okay. Now the other ones, external genitalia in male, scrotum, if it appears light, very less, absent rugae, and testis is not palpable as it descends by 36 weeks. Okay, so testis usually descends by, we have to remember this, 36 weeks. So if the testis is not palpable, then the baby is preterm. And the scrotum, if it's pigmented and the rugae are present and testis is palpable, that means the baby is more than 36 weeks, right? Now in the external genitalia in the females, labia majora and minora are visible, then it's preterm. Labia majora is visible, it covers the labia minora, then the baby is term. Okay, so because in the older babies, and that means the term babies, labia majora is only visible. Fine. Coming to the ear recoil, if the ear recoil is slow, that is elastic cartilage is not well developed, and if the ear recoil is fast, that means the elastic cartilage is well developed. Also the lanugo hair or the fetal hair, if they are abundant, then it's a preterm, and if it is sparse or absent, then it's a term baby. Points to identify the post-term baby, there will be meconium staining over the nails and fingers and body after 42 weeks, and as anal sphincter opens, so there will be meconium, and there will be meconium staining seen. Overgrown fingernails and wrinkling of the skin due to the decrease in the amniotic fluid. Okay, so yeah, here the chapter 1 ends. Newborn care, normal newborn. Sorry. Thank you.